Well, guys, welcome back to the boat. We're in chapter 2, unofficially, which is called The Shipmate. Two
Yeah.
boats. Two boats.
Name of the name of the chapter is Two Boats. Shipmate is the theme. Yep.
Yeah. Tell me about washing nets, because that's kind of like the first portion of the chapter.
Yeah. Washing nets. So there's a story in the Bible, Luke, in the New Testament, chapter 5, I believe. You could probably have the reference for me, but it's where Peter, who was a lead fisherman, went out to sea with his crew and just went fishing and were out all day, all night, and just didn't catch anything. And I think on the early morning, just returning. I don't know if all the timing's right, but it felt like that when I was reading it. And just to give a little backdrop of the story, they were bringing their boats in. So I'm like visually imagining the boats coming in. They're tired, and the nets are what they used. They used to have these big, nets where multiple guys have to grab it, throw it in and bring it in. But when you go out fishing, I can imagine it just probably gets dirty. It catches a bunch of rubbish or leaves or seaweed or whatever it grabs. And when you come in, you have to wash it and clean it and get it ready and wrap it up and put it away so you can, be ready the next time you go out fishing and it's cleansed, it's ready to go. And that really connected with me because I'm a tradesman, and so as a tradesman, as a carpenter, I know what it's like to just, spend hours and hours and hours working, and at the end of the day, how exhausted you are, and you didn't meet your goal for the day. And you just want to stay longer, but there's no more time. The sun's getting ready to set. You got to get home, and, you have to put away everything. And I empathize with that feeling of just knowing that exhaustion, disappointment, and then having to spend like an hour putting away things.
It's almost like a double.
It is. It's a double whammy. And you just clock out. And I don't mean clock out for the day. You clock out mentally, physically, exhausted. And even more so, these guys didn't catch any fish. I can't even imagine like working all day and have zero return. So it's like if your boss says, hey, here's your day wage, go out there, bust your tail, and if you don't do this one thing, you're not getting anything. And that's really what happened. They didn't get their day's wage, nothing. So they went out, worked, and put in all their sweat and tears, came back, and didn't even get paid for it. And so I really empathize with that. Washing nets, to me, to answer your question and to the context of the book, was a time as a business owner in our business where I felt like them putting in that exhaustion, that energy, and I felt like giving up is almost like clocking out. Is almost like a giving up. And washing the nets became just a metaphor of putting my hat up on the hook and calling it one, man. Like, that's what washing the nets was. It's like, okay, there's no fish. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm giving all my energy, all my time. I'm clocking out. I'm mentally clocking out. So that's what washing your nets is.
On the timeline of the business, Richie, this was meant in the book. It's mentioned 2014. Your third.
I put a date in there. Yeah.
Your third year of business. Would you think that the third year, just in any business, is one of the toughest ones, or what year do you think it starts to be like, hey, this is reality, like, is setting in? Do we continue this thing, or do we, what do we do?
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because true story, I was on my second year and we went back to Illinois. And I got to see a lot of family and friends, and I was super excited and proud to share with a lot of my family and peers that I started a business. It was exciting for me. I was very proud of myself. And there was certain peers and family members that their feedback meant the world to me, right? And so even more so sharing, something very important, valuable, and you're starting and you're going. And I'm like year 2, so I'm even more excited. Like I survived year 1, and I was talking to one of my my mom's best friend's husband, and he's a successful business owner, and just very, looking at what he was able to accomplish and what he's done and sustained. I was really excited to hear any input he had, and he was like, year 2 is the hardest. That's what he said. So it was interesting you said that, and I was like, I didn't get it. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, taxes.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean taxes? Like, he was like, a lot of times when you go through year 1 and you're in year 2, going into year 3, you don't realize what's coming with the taxes and how to survive it.
Wow.
And then it's hard for businesses to get over that hump, or they're just going to continue and not actually grow, because growth, you have to understand how to survive taxes. And that was his input. And I was just like, I have no clue what you're talking about. We're all good,
Yeah.
But yeah, in 2014, it was year 3, and taxes were becoming part of that conversation. But I think more so, I think it was I was trying to do everything. I was Peter on the boat, out there fishing with the fishermen and guys who came along. But, I was exhausted. I was swinging hammer. I was picking up materials. I was sleeping at Home Depot we had worked nights until like 3 a.m, drive to Home Depot. I'd have my crew with me, a couple guys would go to sleep, wake up at 5 when it opens, pick up materials, go. I mean, we were just doing everything we can to finish the job. And the entrepreneur in me was like making deals with the guys that if we don't finish it, we don't get paid. It's a partner paid, not hourly. So everyone was invested, which was good. And that's how we survived. But, it just wasn't like your ideal business in its infant days. And it was just getting exhausting, man. Like, I had energy. I was in my 30s and all these things, but even then it can catch up with you mentally and all these things. So in 2014, and to answer your question, man, it's, I think if you want to be a business and grow and sustain and scale, I think year 3, you got to survive. Like year 3 is a big year. If you can get over that hump and continue to grow, like, yeah, we can go under the radar and just keep going and call ourselves a business, but to really get over that hump, man, it's challenging.
That's crazy, because when there's always going to be humps, right? Whatever you want to call them, but taxes is a huge one, because I'm just thinking in my mind, if a business in their first year sees the ROI and all the money that's coming in, but then suddenly you realize, oh man, like 30-40% of this has to go to tax or whatever it is, it's like that makes you feel kind of maybe demoralizes you.
Yeah,
with that amount of money.
I think the greatest challenge in the tradesman world, that's the business. We were running a construction business. It was when you have the heart to do it right, you have insurances you got to pay, you have taxes, state taxes you got to pay, you have payroll taxes you got to pay. And so there's just a lot of fees, man, to survive risky business as construction. And so just understanding those costs, number one, but then as you grow, understanding how those fees and taxes grow with you. And when they're due is that point of no return if you don't know what you're doing or what you're getting into. And so, first business, construction business, I mean, trying to survive and understanding where it's going and just getting backlogged on taxes. And just let me share this too, just a vulnerability, man. Like the first year, I think revenue in 2012 was like $35K. But then you look at expenses and everything else, I had zero money in my pocket, man. Like that was just the revenue, And so thankfully, like, we didn't hit anything. We're able to collect food stamps. I mean, that's just, we were in survival mode, barely making rent. Like, why are we doing this? Like, just go back to work, Richie. I mean, my wife didn't say it like that. She was in partner with me, but it's like in my head, I'm just like, Richie, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to follow this lead that I feel that God has called me. And then, year 2, we did double revenue. We're getting more work. And so, but the pockets was still thin, man. And
no one knows this.
No, man, no.
It's just that you and Tiff.
Yeah, and a lot of it was investment too. I probably was making decisions that can help grow the company, where I was giving deals where I could and just over exerting myself to excellence and being, a good price point at the time and not overcharge. I'm not saying I've ever overcharged, but I had to grow into that value, and I understood that, and just integrity and things. So, yeah, man, it was the first 3 years financially, it was so hard. And in year 3, when we really realized what we have to pay to continue and to be at the level we're trying to operate, man, it was exhausting. And I'm swinging hammer all day. So physically, every day I'm like beat. Mentally, I'm beat. I'm doing estimates. And I know a lot of tradesmen, owners go through this, man. They're just a lot to juggle. You have the gas bill you got to pay for your truck, just driving all over the place to pick up materials, to go visit houses for estimates. And that's where all my money was going. Yeah. It was going to just drive around, man.
It seems like there's a lot of, it's funny because what I'm imagining in my head is like, how the Titanic, the boats, and they see like icebergs. It just seems like there's a bunch of icebergs just popping up, and it's like, how do you steer, with all of these things?
Yeah, it was, I was Peter, man. I was Peter, and I was just ready to wash nets, man. After 3 years of that exhaustion, and then on top of that, my wife's working 2 to 3 jobs. I barely seeing her. Our relationship was getting strained. Kids, my children were, going through some hard times, and it was hard to be present for them because I'm in survival. That was it, man. If I had to use a word, I was in survival mode. Even though I was running a company, being an entrepreneur, I wasn't doing it for this like excitement, even though there was excitement added to it. It was just survival mode, following a leading and trusting. So when it wasn't, I believe like when you look at it from the outside, from an outside view, you're like, wow, this is fruitful. There's like jobs coming in. God blessed us with all these tools to kickstart, in the story there where God just overwhelmingly blessed us with tools to kickstart this. The timing on when we started it, the name, All Things New. I mean, everything was the 5-star reviews we're getting. It was like everything made sense and it was fruitful in that matter. But behind the scenes, man, it was like I was taking lickings.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, man.
I remember searching you guys up one time, and the 5-star reviews, it was pouring in, like you said.
I think we hit like 30 5-star reviews. Yeah. And we were Yelp. I mean, Yelp was even like emailing us, sending us certificates like, man, y'all is hot. Like, and it's like, the value was there. The delivery of quality was there. Everything was there except for money in my pocket.
I was going to say, everything was there. 5-star reviews are there. But at what cost?
Yeah, exactly. There was no fish in my net, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everyone can say, man, Peter, you're a hard worker, man. Like they can rant and rave and say, man, you're doing awesome. Your guys' boat, your team, I love everything about it. But the reality is Peter and his wife probably were getting into some challenges just because he wasn't bringing in the funds, no fish were being caught. And so, I just empathized and connected with this story, like really thinking about what he was going through and whatnot.